m'appelle Baba. Baba. Jelly Baba. Moi, je voyage pour tout le monde et partage mes histoires de mes gens, la musique, beaucoup de contes et les autres choses. Tout le monde ici parle l'anglais, n'est-ce pas? I'm going to find out. If you speak English, raise your right hand. All right, this is going to be beautiful. I'm going to enjoy this. My name is Baba. They call me Baba the Storyteller, but I'm not really a storyteller. What I am in actuality is a griot. You know griot? I am a griot. I want to give you everything I can give you in that little bit of time. So let me tell you who I am and why I'm here. I travel all over the world. I do this all over the world. I've been doing this for 25 years. 25 years. Now, here's why. Here's why. The United States. I was born in the United States. But when I was a little boy, I spent a lot of time with my great-grandfather. My great-grandfather lived 110 years. You know the history of slavery, right? Yes. My great-grandfather's father in my family was the last man to have been enslaved. My ancestors were taken from here to the United States 400 years ago. I came back here many years ago to live. I came back here and I lived in a place called Chadoi. You know Chadoi. Now, when I came back here, the reason I came here was because of a man I admired, someone I respected, someone I thought was the most brilliant man on earth. His name, Sheikh Anta Diop. Do you know Sheikh Anta Diop? Yes. Someone else I came here for. I came here for the poetry, Leopold Senghor. I came here because in Chadoi, many African men were killed in Chadoi. But today, many children do not know this history. So here's what I do now. I'm going to ask you a question. Are there people here who are senior, grade 11, grade 10? Okay. I'm going to ask you a question. This is what we do. This is not my house. This is your house. I don't come here to teach you anything. I come to share. So what we do here is going to depend on you. So here is my question. Do you want to be entertained? That's one, listen, because you have a decision to make. Do you want to be entertained, or do you want to deal with truth? Wait, let me tell you the difference. If you want to be entertained, I'm going to sing for you. I'm going to share stories that make you smile, make you laugh. And when you walk out of that door, you're going to feel good. You're going to feel light. You're going to feel happy. But if you choose truth, I cannot promise you that you are going to feel good when you walk out of that door. But I can promise you, if you choose truth, that you will grow inside. I can only promise you growth with truth. I cannot promise you good feelings. So I'm going to give you 1 minute to make this choice. 1 minute. Starting now. Your decision. It is not my place to judge you. It is not my place to judge you. If you want entertainment, you're going to have fun. If you want truth, you're going to learn something. So, you're going to vote with your hand. How many people want entertainment? Raise your hand. How many people want truth? Hands down. I have never, in 25 years, I have never had that many young people want truth. Ooh, okay. I see them. You wanted truth. Don't blame me for what happens here today. This is what you chose. I have two rules when we come together. Two rules. Rule 1. If you give me your eyes, I promise music and stories. Listen carefully. I'm going to say this again if you did not hear me. If you give me your eyes, I promise you music and stories. Let me tell you why. If you want to know another human being, do not ask them who they are. Look them in their eyes. Because the lips will lie, but the eyes will never lie. The eyes will never lie to you. So if I want to know who you are, I'm going to look in your eyes. If you refuse to give me your eyes, or if you play a game with your eyes, you are telling me who you are. Rule number 2. Rule number 2, the only people who understand rule number 2 are people who walk through that door listening with their hearts. Listening with your heart is not like listening with your ears. It is very different. Rule number 2 goes like this. Let me show you who's listening with their hearts. Rule number 2. If I give you my eyes, you give me your ears. Stop. The people who spoke up and said ears when I was doing like this, those are the people already listening with their hearts. Let me tell you why. When I did this, I'm watching, I'm looking in your eyes. Few people spoke up and said ears when I did this. The reason they spoke up is because they were watching me. They were giving me their eyes. And when I did this and I went quiet, they spoke up to show me I am understood. That someone in this room understood me. They also spoke up because they wanted me to know. I'm a stranger in your house. They wanted me to know if I need help from anybody, that's who I go to. Those people who spoke up, who I saw, I know they got my back. Now let me tell you something, because you wanted to deal with truth. Be careful what you ask for, my young people, because you will receive it. If you kept your mouth closed, you are only listening with your ears. You will never understand the world you live in or the people that you share it with if you only listen with your ears. It will only bring you trouble and problems listening with your ears. You've got to open your heart. This time I'm going to say rule 2 again. Use your eyes carefully because they speak. I'm going to say rule number 2 again. Everyone listen with your heart. If I give you my eyes, you give me your ears. No, that's not it. You see, if you came into this room, you're in this room for a reason. You're not in this room by accident. This gathering is special. It will never happen again. It is unique. We are together for a reason. So if you have already closed your heart, you should not be in here. You should be elsewhere. Because I am here for those whose hearts are open to me, because my heart is open. And if I give you my heart and you close yours down, what are you doing to me? Rule number 2, again, I'm going to say this, I need you with me or we cannot move. Together we're strong. When we are not together, we are weak. Do you hear me? Rule number 2 again, if I give you my eyes, you give me your ears. Do you hear how much stronger that sounds? And it's not strong because more people spoke up. It's stronger because it came from your heart. Here's the other thing. Sometimes in the middle of talking, singing, telling stories, you're going to hear me stop. I'm going to stop and I'm going to say, Batyo Bati. When I say, Batyo Bati, you say back, Bati. Can you do this? Yes. Batyo Bati. Bati. You got to be together. When you're not together, you're weak. Batyo Bati. Bati. Now you got to give me back what I give you. If I say it loud, you get loud. If I break it down to a whisper, you give me back a whisper. Let's try 3. 1 here. And after you say it, everyone goes quiet. Because if one of us is not with us, it makes everyone weak. It only takes one person to make everyone weak. Just one human being. Batyo Bati. Bati. And then everyone goes quiet. Sometimes I'm going to talk, tell a story. I'll be speaking, then I'll break it down a little lower. Batyo Bati. Bati. And then sometimes I may be singing or talking, and when I'm doing this, in the middle we're going to get a rhythm, and I will say, if you give me your eyes, I promise you music and stories. If I give you my eyes, you give me yours. Yes. Every time we do something, I'm going to stop. I'm going to say 2 questions. Anyone have anything they want to ask? I'm going to go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No one raises their hand. I keep moving. And when we finish, I walk out that door. Batyo Bati. Bati. I finish, I walk out that door. Batyo Bati. Bati. I finish, I walk out that door, and you may never see me again. Does anyone have anything they want to ask me before we go on? 5? Yes, sir. Can you tell me your name first, please? And your question? Or it's good you asked, because nobody else was going to ask. They're just going to say something. Batyo, this comes from a language in Liberia, among the Kuru people. The old people come to the young people, and the old people will say to the young people, Batyo Bati, which means, it means, is your heart open to me? When the young person says, Bati, the young person is saying, my heart is open to you. It's a way, here's why I do it. Here's why I do it. And when I was this age, I remember adults talking at me, but not to me. And I said, when I grow up, I'm never going to forget this. So when I approach young people, I approach them here. So I use those words to ask permission. I don't want to just talk to you. Maybe you don't want to be talked to today. But if you say Bati, you are telling me that your heart is open to me. That's why I use those words. Because I remember. Second question before we go on. Tell me your name.
What is truth about?
What is truth about? Wow. Let's find out together, okay? Because what happens in here is up to you. I don't know what story to tell. I don't know what music to play until I look in your eyes. Now that I'm looking in your eyes, things are coming. So let's find out together, okay? Batyo Bati. Bati. No. You got to give me back what I give you. Tone is important. How you say something most often is more important than what you say. So if I give you a tone here and you come back lower. Batyo Bati. Bati. Repeat these words. Ye Jalia. Ye Jalia. Alaleka. Alaleka. Jalia da. Jalia da. Ye Jalia. Ye Jalia. Alaleka Jalia da. Alaleka Jalia da. Now listen. Batyo Bati. Bati. Here's what happens. In our past, the griot. I'm not gonna. No. Y'all are too smart for this. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to use the word griot. The language I speak out of Africa is called Bambara. It is a language out of Mali. It is the ancient language of the Mali Empire. This is what we are singing. The jelly, not griot. The French called what we do griots. But the jelly the woman or the man was responsible for bringing everyone together and sharing. So they would go to the village, and when they would enter the village, they would sing out. Listen carefully. They would sing out, "Yeah, Jolly ah." And the people, they would sing back and gather, "Yeah, Jolly ah." And then the Jelly Muso, the woman, or Jelly K, the man, would gather the people around and sing, "Alaleka Jolly ah." And the people would sing back, "Alaleka Jolly ah." And then they would start with the words and finding truth, which we're about to do together. Bati, bati. Y'all got my back?
Yep.
Yeah, Jolly ah.
Yeah, Jolly
I said, y'all got my back? Mm-hmm. Yeah. I start singing. I bring all kind of love into the song. Yeah, and y'all come like, yeah, Jolly. What you give in this world, you will get back. If you do not give in this world, you will get nothing out of it. Are y'all ready?
Yeah. Yes.
If you give me less, I have a responsibility to give you less. You do not want less from me. Yeah, Jolly ah.
Yeah, Jolly ah.
Alaleka Jolly ah da.
Alaleka Jolly ah.
Why didn't y'all do that in the first place? Bati, bati.
Bati.
2 questions and then we'll move on. You wanted to deal with truth. Be very careful about the words you use. You understand now that when you say bati, you are saying, my heart is open to you. You understand that. So when you say those words and you do not go quiet, y'all wanting truth. You are lying. When you understand the words, what they mean, and how to use them, and you do not use them appropriately, you are creating a falsehood. Do not tell me your heart is open to me when I say those words, and you keep talking to someone else. I know I'm supposed to say, it is not the truth, and I'm supposed to sugarcoat, but it is a lie. Bati. And then everyone goes quiet, because that is how we show one another respect. Bati. Already got one, is gone. That is that question. You only get one more question. Be careful about how you use your questions, because you only have a limited number. You understand? Tell me your name. Shabib, what is your question?
Come back to Senegal. Why did you come back to Senegal?
Bati. Shabib wants to know, why did I come back to Senegal? Many years ago, I had a woman who was like a mother to me. You wanted truth. I had a woman who was like a mother to me in the United States. She asked me, she said, Baba, when I die, ashes to Africa. She said, I have never been to Africa. I know I will not go. I am too old. But when I die, they will burn my body. And I want you to take those ashes to Africa. And I want you to take them. And I want you to put them on the land, in the air, and in the water. Bati. She died. I didn't know I was coming back to Africa. I got a call from a school. A school asked me to come here. And I worked with that school for 1 whole week. And when I finished working with that school, I went to Gore. I took the ashes of my spiritual mother, and I went all over the island. And I put her ashes in the water. I put her ashes to the air. And I put her ashes in the earth. Because my ancestors were taken from there 200, 300, and 400 years ago. So I brought my mother back to the place we started. Because they took Africans from here. They didn't take mindless beasts. They took farmers. They took people who knew metallurgy. They took people who knew the sciences and arts. They took griots, made them slaves, So my mother's desire was to come back home. This is where she wanted her ashes. You asked this question, I answered truthfully. Because she wanted this. That was 2. Now we go. Yeah, Jalia.
Yeah, Jalia.
Alaleka Jaliada.
Alaleka Jalia.
Now, I'm going to sing. I'm going to sing a whole lot of words. Words you do not know. But when I get to that yeah, Jalia, I want you to sing back. You feel me?
Yes.
Do you understand me?
Yes.
Listen carefully. Nyate Jalia de Nakale Divi Jalia de Korobo Kajeli Linke Jelike Badi Oraye Yo Kera Ambia Sinana Ambia Sinana Ambia Sinana Kumbemba Jeli Musaninjare Buddha Buddha Julula Ibuna Buddha Kora Jaluma Ambia Sinana Kumbemba Jeli Musaninjare Kelu Ambia Sinana. I want to feel it. Yeah, Jalia.
Yeah, Jalia.
Alaleka Jaliada.
Alaleka Jaliada.
Ambia Sinana. Kumbemba Jeli Musaninjere Ambia Sinana. There was once a beggar. He would walk the streets of his village with a little wooden bowl. And he would go from home to home and business to business. He would hold out the bowl and he would say, a little rice for my bowl, a little rice to feed this poor wretched soul. Well, the people of his village, they were not wealthy, but they would offer him what they had. And by the evening, he would have enough rice to go home and have a meal. This was his life daily, day in, day out. Yeah, Jalia.
Yeah, Jalia.
Alaleka Jaliada.
Alaleka Jaliada.
One day the beggar was walking through the streets of his village, and he's holding out the bowl, and he's saying, a little rice for my bowl, soul. But, Bati,
Bati.
on this day, the people give him so much rice that his bowl is overflowing. He has more rice than he has ever had. So the beggar, Bati, the beggar, he takes thinking about this great meal he is about to have. But as he's walking slowly up the central road of the village, men on horseback come riding through. Men on horseback come riding through. Soldiers, military men. They ride and they almost knock him down. But he moves to the side and he protects his bowl like this. One of the men stops. The beggar cranes his neck to see who has stopped. And when he sees it is the king sitting atop the finest of horses. The king is sitting atop the horse. He looks down at the beggar and he says, what are you protecting? What are you holding? And the beggar turns around and shows the king his overflowing bowl of rice. Bati. The king then says, hand me your bowl. It's the king. The king is not to be denied. But this does not sit well with the beggar. But he doesn't want to show the king his face. any anger. So he hands the king the bowl. The king takes the bowl atop his horse, and the king is holding the bowl, and he looks down at the beggar. And he says, we've been riding for days, and in those days, I have not eaten a single bite. Then he asks the beggar, please, tell me, how many grains of rice will you allow me to eat from this bowl? The beggar becomes angry, but he can't show the king that he's angry. And he begins to think, the king, the wealthiest man around, wants to eat from the little wooden bowl of a beggar's bowl. And the more he thinks about it, the angrier the beggar gets, until he has a stroke of brilliance. He uses the king's words against him. When the king asked him, how many grains of rice will you let me eat from this bowl? The beggar says, oh, your highness, I do not want you to be hungry. Please, please, take 5 grains of rice to fill your belly. The king says, am I to understand from this overflowing bowl of rice that you will allow me 5 grains? And the beggar says, yes, your highness. Please, I do not want our sovereign to be hungry. Take 5 grains and enjoy to heart's content. So the king, he counts out loud. He says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then he hands the beggar back his bowl. And he rides off. The beggar is happy because he still has his bowl, which is overflowing with rice, and he is only missing 5 grains. Yeah, Jalia.
Yeah, Jalia.
Alaleka Jaliada.
Alaleka Jaliada.
Ambia Sinana. Ubella. Muslim Telekel. Ambia Sinana. The beggar makes it home. He sits down to eat from his bowl. And the first handful he puts into his mouth, he has to stop because something is wrong. He feels something in his mouth and it feels hard. So he spits the rice out into his hand. And there, in his hand, among the rice he had been chewing, was the size of a grain of rice, a tiny gold nugget. He checks his bowl, and he finds a second, a third. How many did he find?
5.
He found 5. And the beggar could not figure out where the gold came from. But you know, don't you?
Yes.
Bati.
Bati.
I always ask this question whenever I finish a story, because together we're strong, all right? When we are not together, we are weak. 3 questions. First question, is there anyone who is lost, did not understand that story at all? Please raise your hand. How many people understood the story? Hands down. If you do not understand this last question, do not raise your hand. How many people felt this story? Raise your hand. Please keep them up for 1 minute. Keep them up for 1 minute. You see, sometimes we judge with our eyes and ears. The king was a wealthy man. Story, I need you to explain. Could you tell me your name?
Lena.
Lena? Could you stand and tell us?
Yes. So basically, the beggar, he's in need of food, and the king comes and he said that he arrived for days, and he said that he didn't have food. So the beggar judged a book by its cover, and he sees the king like a rich man and selfish and narcissist who just wants to take from a man who doesn't have nothing. But the king was having another side. He was giving for having. He was hungry, but he wanted to give to reward him for being kind, for giving him the food. So he tried to reward him with gold. More you give, more you receive.
Clap for her. I know you already have a mother, a father, but I want to take you home with me. Bati, because your words have meaning. All of your words have meaning. Okay, before we go on, 2 questions. Anyone have anything they want to ask? Your name, please.
Hawa Ja.
Hawa?
Ja.
Ja. Yes.
Where did you learn all of this from?
Bati. The tradition of Jalia, what we were just singing about, is a tradition that dates back thousands of years. The people who do what we are doing are called Jeli. Usually you must be born into a family to practice this. If you are not born into the family, you are not meant to do this, right? When I came to Africa, I lived with Jeli families, and they took me in. Here's why they took me in. You remember I said my ancestors were taken from here?
Yes.
Remember I told you they took farmers, they took metallurgy, they took science. Remember I told you that? Yes. They also took Jeli. So when I came here, I had the spirit, I had the spirit of a Jeli. I was meant to do this. So when I came here, I lived with those families, and I learned, and I studied, and I stayed. And when I went to Charter, and I lived in Charter, I lived with a griot family in Charter. And every day, we sang, we learned history, we drummed, we played kora, we learned. I almost died the last time I was here. It was a woman in Charter who kept me alive. Her name is Momina Sissoko. She's an older woman now, but I learned from her husband, her family. Sometimes it's in your blood. You understand? But you can't kill a soul. You can kill the body, but you don't kill a soul. That's how I learned. Did I answer your question, Ella?
Yeah.
I love your smile. How about smile big? I love it when people smile big. It's like, yeah, I feel you. I feel you. Was that 2 questions?
Yes.
Or was that 1? It's 1? You have your hand all the way in the back. I don't hear well all the way in the back. Can you speak loud and tell me your name?
I'll be above.
All right, your question.
My question is, what's the name of that instrument?
Wait a minute. What's the name of the instrument? Have you ever seen one?
Yes.
No, I'm talking to him. Have you ever seen one? Yes. Kora. Later, you don't have to ask me. There are people in this room who know this well. You can talk to your people here, and they will tell you everything you want to know about this. There's wisdom here. I see it in your eyes. So I'm going to let your question go, and I'm going to let one more ask. Okay, tell me your name. Ahmed? Ahmed. Okay, your question.
What's the meaning of that song?
The song we sang?
Yeah.
Ah, Bacho bati.
Bati.
I thought you knew what you sang. Bacho bati. We sing, yeah, Jalia. Jalia is what the jelly do. They teach using music and song and dance. And they've been doing this for hundreds of years. That's all Jalia, okay? Then we say, Allah. Okay, do you know what the word Allah means? That's very quiet. Do you know what, oh, I understand. Do you know what the word Allah means?
Yes.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Jalia. Allah. Le pa Jalia da. So we take the Bambara, a little Arabic, it's mixed. So we say Jalia. This Jalia is a gift from Allah for us. We thank Allah for this. Because anything we do in this world, we have to give thanks. Bati bati.
Bati.
Truth. That's what you wanted. That's what we're dealing with. We could do one more thing. You make the decision. Do you want to sing together? Or do you want a story? And y'all can't agree on nothing, huh? Bati bati.
Bati.
Okay, let's vote. Let's vote. How many people want music? We close by singing together. 1. Wow. Okay. How many people want a story? 10 down. Okay. Bati bati.
Bati.
If you give me your eyes, I promise, music and stories. If I give you my eyes, you give me your
Ears.
bati.
Bati.
Never forget how important your eyes are, because when they are not with us. I will tell you a story, but I have to say something. I feel like some of you, and this is me, but you wanted truth. Some of you do not know how powerful you are. I look in your eyes and I see questions. I see doubt in some. I don't understand why. I look in some of your eyes and I see power. I see some of you are older inside than the outside shows. Do you understand me?
Yes.
Some of you, bati.
Bati.
Some of you, when I look in your eyes, you are older on the inside than the outside shows. But I have fear for some of you because of the doubt in your eyes. You are this close to no longer being children. You are this close to being the people who take over everything from us. You are this close. Don't doubt yourself. Bati bati.
Bati.
There was a king who had 2 servants. The king did not want 2 servants following him around everywhere he went. So the king decided he would get rid of one of the servants. But he didn't know which one to get rid of. So he decided he would test the 2 men with a question. Whichever one answered appropriately, he would keep. But the man who did not answer appropriately, he would get rid of. Bati bati.
Bati.
Bati bati.
Bati.
So the king called the 2 servants into his great chamber. He told them of a new plan and an idea he had to govern the realm. After the king explained the plan, he turned to the man on this side And he said to the man on this side, tell me what you think of my new plan. The man on this side said, oh, Your Highness, it is a brilliant plan. It is inspired. You are the most intelligent human being to have ever walked this earth. He said, Your Highness, your plan will only benefit the people of the realm. The king then turned to the man on this side to tell me what you think of my new plan. The man on this side looked at the king without hesitation. He said, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. He said, you are supposed to be a king, but the nonsense that just came from your mouth, I cannot believe. He said, what you are saying will only cause the people harm. Bati. The king got rid of one of them and kept the other. Do you know which one he got rid of?
Yes.
Okay, hold on. Wait. How many of you think he got rid of this man? Okay, that's not. Man. In fact, Bati, not only did he keep this man, but he made him wealthy. He gave him a lot of money and land and cattle and homes. The king made this man wealthier than many nobles, than most people. But one day, Bati, one day this man over here, he's in one of his palatial homes. This was many years later, many years later. He's in one of his palatial homes and he begins to think, whatever happened to that other man I was in the room with so many years back? He decides to go find the man. He decides to go find him. Now it takes weeks. But he finally finds the man. And when he finds him, when he finds that other man who the king let go, he finds him living in a shanty. One room. You're honest. Thank you. Hands down. Who understood the story? Raise your hands. Remember, hands down. Do not raise your hand if you do not understand the story. Raise your hand. Bati. I need one person who felt this story with my heart, and I hope that each and every one of you in here is listening with yours.
He was a better person for telling the king what he needed to hear, but most people don't want to hear what they need to hear. They want to hear what they want to hear, so that's why the first guy ended up being so wealthy.
Give her a hand. Thank y'all. Have a seat, young lady. Anyone else want to do I have to let one of the young people speak and then we close because I was waiting for you. I have been beaming my energy here, hoping and praying and waiting. Yes, you. That you were going to raise your hand and speak. I have been hoping and hoping. Young brothers, hold up one moment. Yes. Stand for me, please. Bati. There is a reason young brother was going to speak.
The second person who spoke honest truth, the one who is eating simple soup now, he learned to live without finding things. The first person who got to become rich, he was the type of person who needed the new things, who needed the best type of shoes, the best type of clothing, the best type of houses. He was the person who couldn't live without that. While the person who spoke honestly was the person who learned to live with just being basic, with natural things, simple soup, simple bread, wake up, do your work, or just go to sleep, simple things. He learned to do that, and that's what made him.
Give him a hand. This is our last speaker. Tell me your name. Bob. Here's why I always close with the youngest. Because as an elder, you are all my children. As an elder, I have a responsibility to each and every one of you because of my age. Bati. I have a responsibility. I'm going to say this one more time. Because of my age. You, older students, have a responsibility to these younger ones. To demonstrate to them what young men and young women can become. I have a responsibility to you. You have a responsibility to them. If you see yourself as separate and not a part of something whole, like this gathering, then you are missing a great gift. You're eating from a bowl and not understanding where the gold inside the bowl came from. They're going to give you a lot of love and respect, young man. Can you turn, face them, and tell them the meaning? Can you turn and face them?
Assalamu La personne qui était en droite n'avait pas dit la vérité. Il voulait seulement que le roi le félicite, mais l'autre a dit la vérité. Parce que si il avait dit la mauvaise chose, ça va se passer mal. Donc, il a bien dit la réponse. Après, il est allé, mais ça l'a rien fait. Mais je pense qu'Allah va le féliciter.
Chastise you for the talking that you do. I understand where it comes from. I always allow for 3 words to come from my mouth before my expectation is that you're quiet. I always allow for 3 because I remember being your age. I want to give you respect. That's why I allow for 3 at all times. But we have to bring this to a close. Now I walk out that door. You dealt with truth, your truth, the way you wanted to, the way you desired. Did you enjoy your time here today?
Yes.
Did you learn something from one another today?
Yes.
All right, hold on. Did y'all have fun?
Yes.
So you can still have fun learning the truth
Yes.
if your heart is open. I want to thank Barbara for bringing me here. Barbara saw me and she said, "You have got to come to my school." And after hearing her voice, I could not say no. So I'm supposed to be out having fun, enjoying myself, eating good food. But this is so much better for me. Because when I leave synagogue this time, I'm going to leave with your faces in my head. The eyes you offered me. The truth we shared. I have had a wonderful time. Thank you for allowing me in this beautiful school.
We appreciate what you did, and as a child, we need to learn more from the history of women to know how to fix the future and make it better for you to make their life better.
Grade 5.
Grade 5? This is your grade 5? Bonjour, Monsieur President.
Okay, so inshallah we're going to have somebody to go.
For being here today, because we learned so much things today. I learned from you as I learned from my peers today. And I think you are the best visitor that came to our school.
You're gonna make me cry. I don't cry, but you're gonna make me cry. Fatou! Bonjour, Madame Présidente. He does. You understand?
Yes.
Thank you.